What is going on, lads? It's Billy the Kid here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Battlefield 3 Weapon Overview, the series in which I give a little bit of background information on the real life weapons of Battlefield 3. Now, in the previous episode, in the straw poll, the winner of that straw poll was clearly the QBB-95. So today's episode is going to be on that weapon of choice. Stay tuned for the end of this episode to find out what the next 5 weapons will be for the next episode of Battlefield 3 Weapon Overview. So where did the QBB-95 originate from? Now, a quick thing to mention is that the QBB-95 is the squad automatic variant of the QBZ-95 assault rifle, so this weapon overview is more or less going to be based primarily around the QBZ family of weapons. So let's begin. So in the late 1980s and the early 1990s, the Chinese Armed Forces, the PLA or the People's Liberation Army, began to see the deficiencies in its armed forces, especially in the small arms its forces were using. You see, in the early 1950s, China, whose armed forces continued to get bigger and bigger over the decades, needed to use an assault rifle that was reliable, that was cheap and easy to use by even the least trained conscript. So in the end, they decided to copy the Soviet AK-47, and they created their own copy called the Type 56 assault rifle. And this rifle entered service in 1956 and remained China's main assault rifle well into the 1980s, when the Chinese finally realized, okay, we need to modernize to keep up with the rest of the world. So they tried to create their own new modern assault rifle in the early 1980s, but this new assault rifle called the Type 81 was little more than a modernized Type 56 assault rifle, and it still lacked the range and accuracy that other assault rifles had around the world. So work began in the mid-1980s to finally design a modern assault rifle that would equip the forces of the PLA well into the 21st century. So this new design needed to be able to produce many different variants, like a designated marksman rifle, a squad automatic weapon, a carbine, and your standard assault rifle. Now, the Chinese looked to many foreign rifles, especially bullpup rifles, for their inspiration, such as Britain's L85, the French FAMAS, and the Austrian Steyr AUG. And finally, in 1995, production began of this new bullpup assault rifle, and it was designated the QBZ-95, which in English roughly translates as Light Rifles Family 1995. It was chambered for the newly designed 5.8 by 42mm round, and was first seen publicly at a military parade in 1997. The QBZ-95 assault rifle has several variants, such as the QBZ-95B carbine, the QBB-95 light support weapon, and an export version called the QBZ-97 that's chambered for the 5.56mm NATO round. Now, the QBB-95 light support weapon is basically the assault rifle version with a heavier barrel, a bipod, and an 80-round drum magazine. There's not much difference between the QBB-95 and the QBZ-95. In early 2010, the PLA decided to upgrade and improve the QBZ design with better ergonomics, new ammunition that has a better range and firepower, and to address the reliability and ease of use issues. And so many of the different variants were upgraded in late 2010 and will slowly replace the original weapons that have been issued since 1995. So lads, that is pretty much all I can cover about the QBB-95 and the different variants of that family. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Battlefield 3 Weapon Overview. Now, for the next 5 weapons of Battlefield 3 Weapon Overview, I'm going to choose pistols. A lot of you lads have been asking me to cover some of the pistols of Battlefield 3, and I've yet to do one. So, the 5 next weapons for Battlefield 3 will be the M9, the MP443, the Glock 17, the M1911, and the MP412 Rex. So, once again, in the description below you will find a straw poll where you can go and vote on your weapon for the next episode of Battlefield 3 Weapon Overview. Once again, lads, thanks again for watching. This is Billy the Kid. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you again, lads. Thanks again for watching.